I'm going to present the VIP 48.1, which is dedicated to Spain in this case, and it belongs to this series of this collection of VIPs dedicated to trends in ventilation in different countries. But I'm going to focus on the ventilation issue because we are short of time and we don't have a lot of time to dedicate to other matters. So this is the content of my presentation, which is basically the index of the VIP. The VIP was the authors of the VIP are Sonia Garcia, Amelia Romero, Marta Sorribes, Rafael Villar from the Torroja Institute, like myself, and Fernando Feldman from Aire Limpio. The mandatory ventilation requirements for dwellings are set out in Spain in the building regulations, which were first approved in 2006, although the current ventilation dates from 2017. These requirements aim to achieve the goal displayed in the slide. Buildings shall be provided with means so that they can be suitably ventilated and contaminants produced during normal use can be removed. A sufficient flow of external air must be provided and indoor polluted air must be extracted. The requirements are established using a performance-based approach to control pollutants generated by building uses, materials, and furnishing. Indoor CO2 concentration is set as the indicator of IAQ related to uses activities, and a minimum ventilation flow of 1.5 liters per second is also required to extract pollutants derived from building materials, finishes, and furnishing. The performance-based requirements are: first, the average annual CO2 concentration in each room must not exceed 900 ppm, and second, the annual accumulation of CO2 over 1,600 ppm must not exceed 500,000 ppm per hour. The performance-based requirements must be fulfilled by simulation at the design stage or by using minimum constant ventilation flows deemed to satisfy the requirements. Simulations should be conducted under design conditions such as number of occupants, occupancy scenarios, weather conditions, CO2, production rate, and annual average outdoor CO2 concentration. The building regulations provide the minimum constant ventilation flow rates required to satisfy the performance-based requirements for each room, depending on the type of dwelling according to the number of bedrooms. These flow rates meet the performance-based requirements under the design conditions by default. According to the National Statistics Institute's Population and Housing Census, the total number of dwellings in 2021 was more than 26 million, of which a big part of it, nearly 4 million, were vacant and 2.5 million were used sporadically. In recent years, the ventilation market has experienced remarkable growth, mainly due to increased awareness of AEQ and updated legislation. According to the Spanish Air Conditioning Equipment Manufacturers Association, the market has increased more than 13% from 2021 to 2022. In existing dwellings built before 2006, which is the year when the first IAQ regulations were approved, natural ventilation is the most common ventilation system. It is based on thermal buoyancy through a vertical ventilation stack combined with airing, opening and closing of windows, and infiltration through the building envelope, mainly through joinery. When renovating, it is very common in Spain to install hybrid roof fans at the top of existing vertical ventilation stacks. Although there are no official statistics on the type of ventilation systems installed in dwellings, from 2006, when the building regulations first came into force, all new dwellings must have a mechanical or hybrid ventilation system, with fully natural ventilation not allowed. In general, the most common ventilation system in newly built homes in Spain consists of a centralized hybrid exhaust fan located on the roof at the end of the vertical ventilation stack in the wet rooms, together with microventilation windows located in the right rooms to allow fresh air to enter. The second most common ventilation system, which is increasing very rapidly, is the mechanical single flow system with a fan centralized and placed on the roof. The fan is connected to all wet rooms by ducts, and both microventilation and air inlets can be used to supply fresh air. It is becoming more common to use mechanical double flow systems where fresh air is taken through a heat recovery unit and supplied to the dry rooms via a duct network. The system tends to be a smart and demand control ventilation system. Now, in relation to non-residential buildings, the regulations are established by RITE, is the regulation of thermal installations in buildings. It's a mandatory regulation for all buildings with thermal installations. This regulation said that all these buildings must have a ventilation system that provides sufficient fresh air flow to avoid the accumulation of high concentrations of pollutants in rooms with human activity, according to this table, which defines 4 IAQ categories depending on the use of the building. Procedure from EN 13779 can be used to meet this requirement. In order to comply with these categories, RITE establishes 5 different methods for calculating the required outdoor rate. In relation to the stock, the non-residential building stock in Spain is close to 2 million properties, according to the statistics of the real estate cadastre. According to AFEC, from 2021 to 2022, the market in air distribution and diffusion increased by more than 19%. Air handling units and ventilation units market also increased by approximately 10%. The industrial tertiary ventilation market increased more than 70%, and the residential and tertiary market represent 20% of the total revenue in 2022 for HVAC products. In relation to the inspection of ventilation systems, the RITE regulates both the initial and periodic assessment of these systems. Inspections of thermal installation, including ventilation systems, must be carried out by authorized companies or inspection bodies. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems should be inspected every 4 years, and they should have a full inspection every 15 years. Innovative systems and solutions may deviate to a greater or less extent from the deemed to satisfy solutions set in the regulations, but they must demonstrate compliance with the objectives of the regulations. In Spain, there are 3 organizations authorized by the competent public administrations to provide technical approval assessments of the performance of innovative products or systems. These are the Instituto de Ciencias de la Construcción Eduardo Torroja, the ITEC, which is the Institut de Tecnologia de la Construcció de Catalunya, and the last one, Tecnalia, which is the Fundación Tecnalia Research and Innovation. Currently, there are 2 approved ventilation systems based on humidity control, and other 2 are in the process of assessment. And to finish, the conclusions we can obtain are the following. IAQ regulations in Spain are performance-based, since mostly, well, at the beginning from 2006, but mostly in a more deepened way from 2017. The IAQ requirement in dwellings is identified in terms of CO2 concentration as an indicator. The main advantage of performance-based regulations is that they allow the use of innovative, energy-efficient systems to fulfill the requirements. The requirements might be met through the utilization of simulation or the implementation of minimum ventilation flow rates, which have been established as deemed to satisfy solutions. And ventilation market in Spain is a relatively recent one, but is strong and keeps growing. Well, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.